Since its inception in 1996, Salesforce is all set to disrupt itself in an AI era with the launch of Agentforce, its way of reimagining sales tech in an AI era. Join us as we bring you all the action from Dreamforce 2024 on what Salesforce intends to do to capitalize on the AI opportunity. Hello and welcome to this edition of Young Turks Reloaded. I'm Shereen, Bhan, and you're watching India's longest running show on startups and entrepreneurship. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome on the program a man who is tracked very closely across social media. He calls himself the Chief Digital Evangelist at Salesforce, but his job description is much more of a listener, a learner, and a storyteller. Vala Afshar, what's an absolute pleasure to have you join us here at Dreamforce, which many are calling it the Disneyland of the tech world minus the rides.
Thank you so much for your kind words. As someone who's afraid of rides, I love the fact that it's being described as Disney World without the rides. This is my 14th Dreamforce. Half the time I attended as a customer, tried to expand my mind, connect with trailblazers to learn and bring that value back to my company. And for the past 9 years, I've had the privilege of working at Salesforce, trying my best to give back, to help educate and inspire and ignite positive action with a community unlike any other community in the tech industry, in my humble opinion. And you know, it's just awesome to be here.
From your vantage point, Vala, what does this chapter, since you're a storyteller, what does this chapter mean or say as far as where we find ourselves in the tech cycle? You know, Mark said that this is the big moment, that Salesforce is going all in with its AI Agentforce, and he's virtually betting the future of the company on this idea, and you believe that this is going to reimagine sales tech as we know it. How do you view this chapter?
Those are powerful statements that our co-founder made. I believe this is the most important Dreamforce. We're a 25-year-old company, a company that pioneered software as a service. We pioneered cloud computing. We were first to talk about the mobile wave and the mobile revolution, the social revolution, Internet of Things revolution, the AI revolution. Certainly the last few years we've been talking about the importance of data. All AI projects begin as data projects. And this year, on our 25th year anniversary, we believe agentic AI, is the most important technology in the enterprise and in the business world. In contrast to chatbots and co-pilots where they simply assist you, we now have AI agents that can work with you and take action on your behalf. They have much deeper understanding of language. They have reasoning capabilities. They can adapt based on experiences. So they can work alongside you and augment your ability to deliver value to your stakeholders or do it on your behalf. This is an inflection point that in my 30 years of technology, I believe is the most important moment for us. And what we're trying to convey to the 45,000 that are here in person and the millions who are watching, tens of millions who are watching, is that this is the way AI was meant to be. It's agents and humans working together, delivering value to our customers. And we're activating thousands of our customers during Dreamforce, where they can build their own AI agents and help turbocharge their businesses in terms of delivering value at the speed of need. That's the power, that's the superpower that AI agents will bring to business. You can anticipate ahead of a customer tapping you on the shoulder and deliver to them value so they can grow their businesses and delight their customers.
We believe that this is an inflection point, but from where we find ourselves today to a real takeoff and real adoption, what are we talking about? A couple of months, a couple of years?
I can look at Salesforce and how we've transformed ourselves just in the last 18 months, becoming an AI enterprise company. For us, the journey wasn't a couple of months or a couple of years. We've been on this AI journey for 10 years.
10 years. Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah.
Our first acquisition, launching our research team, the first Silicon Valley company, to my understanding, to hire a senior executive responsible for ethical and humane use of software. We believe the business can be the greatest platform for change. We believe values create value, but much like any new technology, it's an understanding where people may be timid, may be scared, may have questions about what happens when software can do the job.
Yeah.
And so for us, it's really making sure that the ethical, the privacy, trust is our number one core value. And so this is about augmenting workers. This is about bringing joy to work. When you see research that says 41% of workers are tired, 80% are susceptible to burnout, it's because, frankly, businesses, no fault of their own, because we didn't have the technology to assist, assign mundane, repetitive tasks. And so you can spend your entire career working on things that, frankly, could have been delegated to software, so you can invest back in yourself. You can come to conferences like Dreamforce and learn about AI. You can get certifications on Trailhead at no cost and better yourself. Ultimately, I think society will benefit for what is, in my humble opinion, electricity for the 21st century. And I think at some point, government, public sector may work together and recognize that AI should be considered a human right.
It's interesting that you believe that AI is almost equivalent to electricity, and the impact that it's likely to have on the world, on jobs as we know it. And this takes me back to a comment that Mark made, where he's talking about wanting to put guardrails in place, the need to put guardrails in place so that we don't have a AI-driven Hiroshima moment. Now, that's a fairly dire statement to make. How afraid or concerned are you about the consequences, the unintended consequences of what AI could do, the harm that AI could do if we don't have the guardrails in place?
That's a great question. I believe that it's the optimists that create the future. So I'm an optimistic person. I'm surrounded by colleagues and peers who are optimistic. It's important to have critical thinking, but I don't have cynicism when I think about technology, because my personal belief, it's not the technology that does good or bad, it's the people that use the technology. Now, having said that, it is important to recognize that for 25 years, my company has said trust has to be your number one core value. Now, 45,000 people here, and we can ask at random any one of these good folks define trust. And my favorite definition of trust is competence plus character. Competence has two elements to it, capability and reliability. You have to show both. And if you don't show both, you don't have that competence part of the equation completely met. The character part is integrity plus benevolence. I love the word benevolence. When your thoughts, your words, your actions are aligned, when your intentions are clear. I believe our intentions, and again, we've been saying this for as long as I've known the company. I've known the company for 21 years, 12 years as a customer and 9 years as an employee, is that business can be the greatest platform for change. We help our customers connect to their customers in a whole new way, and we're driven by values. And to answer your question, if you're guided with trust as your number one core value, you have the right intentions and the right benevolence, you will create products with the proper guardrails, with the proper inclusion principles where your customers and your partners and your communities, all stakeholders, and we consider Earth as a stakeholder, because we want to make sure that our children and our grandchildren can benefit as we have. So those guardrails are just ingrained in our DNA. Every decision we make is guided with the customer in the middle, And, you know, we have research teams and ethical and humane use of software teams that help us leverage technology. We're customer zero when it comes to AI. At Salesforce, we have invested and implemented over 50 AI applications. And according to our research, in the last 90 days, we have saved roughly 50,000 hours of productivity. That's 25 man years in 90 days. So yes, we have to think about implications of incredible productivity, incredible opportunity to lean into creativity and growing ourselves. And we're going along this journey. Our co-founder reminds us all the time, and if you have children, you understand this, adopt the beginner's mindset. Free of prejudice, inquisitive, experimental in nature. If you fall down, get back up. Make original mistakes. You know, the second time you make the exact same mistake, that's a choice.
Yeah.
So we're an innovative company. We're going to continue to experiment, but we're going to do it with a beginner's mindset.
You know, and that's interesting. Actually, there's a couple of interesting things that you said, but let me pick up with how challenging it is for a large corporation to continue to have a beginner's mindset. I know that that is something that Mark believes in, but as you grow, as you're now, a $30-40 billion corporation, how hard is it to continue to retain the beginner's mindset?
A fantastic question. And my personal view, again, knowing the company for 21 years, is I have never witnessed a decline in the sense of urgency that we have. You know, when you have a festival like this and you see nearly 45,000 people smiling and happy and joyful, that's an awesome amount of responsibility that you have as the host to ensure that we continue to earn trust, that we continue to deliver joy and meaning. You can belong to something, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have a sense of mattering.
Yeah.
And I think what we do as a company is ensuring that people belong and have a sense of mattering. Now, that urgency, how does that translate in our operating model? We're one of the most active corporate venture capital arm in the country. If I had to guess, I would say we invest in a startup on a weekly basis. Because as I look at the hundreds of startups that we've invested in, north of, I believe, $6 billion. We just announced Monday that we have a $1 billion fund focused on generative AI startups.
Yeah.
And and of course I'm speaking to someone who knows startups more than anyone maybe on earth. But the fact,
I would like to claim that, but sadly, no, I don't think so.
I think if you fact check that, that may be very, very true. We launched Salesforce Ventures in 2009.
Yeah.
And our portfolio is incredible. I mean, this is a company, I believe Salesforce has acquired 76 companies in 25 years. So we acquire, on average, 3 companies a year. But when I think of startups, I mean, India represents the 3rd largest startup ecosystem in the world, I believe.
You're investing there as well.
And we are investing.
Like Darwin Box.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have, first of all, we have 11,000 employees that I call India home. And when 1 in every 10 unicorn in the world is coming from India, when you have 111 startups with a $350 billion valuation, with a country that's growing at nearly 7% GDP, and most forecasts believe that India will become the 3rd largest GDP economy in the world, and you'll surpass Japan and Germany in the very near term. Yeah. It's incredible to know that part of this urgency, where we believe no company, regardless of success or size, is immune to disruption. Part of maintaining that healthy, inquisitive beginner's mindset is our corporate venture capital arm. The other is investing in education. We just announced yesterday, we're donating $23 million to high schools and middle schools. I have a 14-year-old son. I love the fact that companies are investing, private sector investing in high schools. I didn't understand emerging trends until I was in grad school. So I love the fact my son could be exposed. The Oakland and San Francisco Unified School District will receive $13 million. That's the largest donation from private sector. So we will have children the age of my son learning about coding and agentic AI, and I have my fingers crossed in 10 years, we can invite them to Salesforce and I can call him a colleague. But that spirit of giving, that spirit of urgency, that spirit of wanting to be accessible and connected. All our buildings around the world will dedicate floors where communities can come and learn at no cost about AI and how AI can turbocharge their businesses. This is all steps that we take to ensure not just relevance, not just our commitment to our customers, but for us to stay teachable, for us to stay grounded. It turns out law of numbers. No matter how big you are, no matter how successful you are, there's always more smart people on the outside than on the inside of your company. And once you recognize that, it's amazing how it could shape your culture.
So one of the ways that, of ensuring that you retain this beginner's mindset is by investing in startups, collaborating with startups, but also partnerships. I mean, you've just announced a strategic partnership with NVIDIA here at Dreamforce, and you've talked about the 7 principles in Boundless, and one of them is shared success. How important do you believe that's going to be? The fact that we have companies like Salesforce and NVIDIA partnering with one another. We have, Microsoft and Apple partnering with one another. These partnerships and collaborations, is this going to be the sort of bedrock of this AI era as we move forward?
First of all, thank you for mentioning Boundless and the 7 design principles. Salesforce is a boundless company. The reason I wrote Boundless is because silos are bad.
And you moved from a silo mindset to a more networked, resourceful mindset.
Personally, I had a silo mentality for most of my professional life. I am an immigrant, and I'm not speaking on behalf of all immigrants, but I grew up in a household where I was taught capture resources. Son, you're going to school and you're going to get a good degree. Capture budget, capture headcount, capture knowledge, corner office. So I spent most of my career capturing resources, protecting those resources, and then trying to extract value from those resources. And in my 40s, I recognized, and partly because of the impact Salesforce had on me as an individual, and when I was a customer of Salesforce, I realized the power of flow. And nothing happens until something moves. Albert Einstein said that. And so when we think about building ecosystems, and Boundless to me is opposite of silos. And when we talk about the AI revolution, every AI project begins as a data project. Sadly, 72% of enterprise applications today are not talking to each other. So companies are riddled with data silos. Gartner believes only 4% of the enterprise has enriched data enough to take advantage of language models to enable AI technologies. So companies like Salesforce, companies like NVIDIA, companies like Amazon and Google and Microsoft, folks that we partner with, they're helping us break silos, create a boundless ecosystem where the smartest person in the room is the room, and we can learn from each other. And this is the only way I think we can tackle societal issues that we have to address, business issues, ensure humanity still stays at the center of work. Again, this is agents and humans. And I think that it's the responsibility of companies like Salesforce to make sure that our workforce is ready for what I believe, again, to be electricity. No one questions about electricity or the ROI or its use. Every business application is going to be powered by this technology we call AI. If you've been in San Francisco for a few hours, you probably have seen Waymo.
Yeah.
Cars without steering wheels, autonomous vehicles. Yeah. And so the job of any one of us prior to Waymo when we were in a car was to drive the car or be a passenger. In a few years, autonomous vehicles mean that, or when my son graduates from college, graduate school, again, I have that immigrant mentality that he's going to go to graduate school. When he sits in a car, he can binge watch Netflix, he can game, or maybe he's working on the Salesforce dashboards. He doesn't have to worry about driving. Part of that autonomous logic will make it into the enterprise, and hopefully it's the boring, mundane, repetitive tasks so that now we can bring joy and creativity and career that matters to us and our children. And that's the promise. This is why I think we say this is what AI was meant to do.
You're talking about Gartner, and Gartner's also said that we're perhaps at that point in the cycle where expectations linked to AI have perhaps peaked. Do you believe that to be the case?
That the expectations are too high?
Yeah.
Normally I would say that the hype cycle...
Look, it certainly seems to think so. Or now seems to believe that perhaps we're ahead as far as the expectations are concerned.
Because we're so new, and a lot of companies are trying to do it themselves, they're not looking at the sophistication that's needed to take advantage of AI. They may not be thinking about the importance of a platform where you have the right data and the metadata and the ability to connect AI trust layer and the language model reasoning capabilities to the front office applications like sales, service, marketing, and commerce. If you're trying to stitch AI into your business, and I don't blame for businesses to thinking like that. Look, October 2022, the world woke up to generative AI.
Yes.
OpenAI was founded in 2015, so it took 8 years.
$100 billion valuation already.
And 100 million users in 59 days. So the fastest consumer adoption of AI. So you can understand the urgency, the excitement, boardroom discussions talking about what's this AI thing we're thinking about. So there was pressure on CEOs, there was pressure on CIOs to bring this technology in. And I think for the last couple of years, this rush, a great Hall of Fame basketball coach, John Wooden, famously said, go fast, but don't hurry. I think we've gone really fast in the last couple of years, and we've learned that it is a sophisticated process. You need to have a platform mentality. You need to have an ecosystem mentality. You have to have training your stakeholders, your employees and customers, infrastructure and mentality. So this is what we're trying to show today. I don't think it's hype. Again, I have the privilege of being in R&D labs, where I see this evolution of technology, and it's magic. It's stunning how fast we're bringing automation and intelligence in the flow of work. So whether you're a sales professional or marketing or customer service, as you're servicing your customer, you're doing at a level where an average marketeer is now an extraordinary marketeer. An average sales professional is now doing extraordinary sales. In our company, we believe our developers have gained a 30% productivity increase. We believe our engineers at Salesforce are producing apps 5 times faster than before, and we are introducing millions of lines of code into our system that's being generated with agents and our human developers together. It's extraordinary.
Well, speaking of things that are extraordinary, Vala, you talk about what companies will need to do to continue to be relevant, to continue to be agile in an AI world. What worries you about making that transition to ensure that they do in fact deliver on relevance, do deliver on agility and nimbleness? What do you believe CEOs are not doing enough of today that they should be?
I have a fortune of working at a company with an incredible pioneer and a CEO who has an incredible active listening muscle and habits. We travel around the globe listening to our customers so that we can have a message that can resonate with the millions who are watching and tens of thousands who are going to spend this week with us. It's incredibly important for us to again have that learning culture, that adaptive culture, and it comes from really caring about your customers and knowing the job to be done. We're not chasing shiny technology. We're trying to find how can we deliver value at the speed of need. I think this is how companies will stay relevant. The world is hyper-connected, knowledge sharing, and more decentralized. And so technology will fuel an incredible future for us. I think about India, the fact that there's 627 million mobile phone users, twice the size of the US population. I think about 90% of India covered with 5G technology. Every 10 seconds, three new citizens are connecting to the internet. So when we talk about, for example, investing in India, where we're going to have 1 billion workforce by 2030, this is the reason why ecosystems matter. If you're a CEO and you want to grow your business and you want to deliver value, You have to think about an inclusive strategy that includes geographies outside of just your hometown. And you also have to think about technology partners that can teach you. Again, what we can learn from NVIDIA, what we can learn from Google, what we can learn from Amazon, all these frontier AI companies that we're investing in, Anthropic and others who are here.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to stay relevant. I mean, you look at the growth trajectory of my company, we've been on a rocket ship for 25 years. How do we maintain that relevance and momentum? And we're going to do that as a team sport.
You know, you talked about learning from other companies. Jensen was here speaking at Dreamforce as well. What's been the big learning from the way that he's been running NVIDIA and from NVIDIA itself?
Personally, my learning from him is long-term thinking and planning and conviction. Jensen was talking about the power of GPUs versus CPUs 15 years ago. You can look at his videos talking about, and again, with the market maybe not reacting as positively as they do today, but you know, he knew that when you're doing truly trailblazing work, pioneering work, you know, the first person through the wall sometimes can be the bloodiest. And so his conviction, his grit, the fact that he informs young entrepreneurs that resilience matters. You know, character is shaped through struggle, and he's had incredible struggle. You know, he's talked about his personal struggle, and also his commitment and conviction to research. When he was talking to Mark, talking about researching the power of language models a decade ago. So someone who's well-read, someone who anticipates outcomes, and someone who values resilience. I love all of that. When I have the good fortune of, like yourself, when the exceptional startup entrepreneurs that we have the privilege of consulting or learning from, they're self-aware, they're pragmatic optimists, they're hard workers. They know the world doesn't owe you anything. They have zero sense of entitlement, and they have incredible resilience. And Jensen embodies all of that. And it's infectious. So it's just a privilege for a company like ours to be able to partner with him to take our 150,000 customers on a journey that hopefully is a beautiful, rewarding one in the many years to come.
Well, speaking of journeys and conviction, you know, you were quite keen that you should pick up Twitter. How's that story panned out?
You know, Twitter has had and Twitter now X, has had an incredible...
Does anyone call it that?
You know, I will forever say Twitter, and then we'll have to follow up with the new name. For me, I viewed Twitter as, and my journey is a decade long, my personal learning network. I'm very mindful of who I connect with. It has to be someone that expand my mind. It has to be someone that's truthful, honest, optimistic, positive. So you know, I'm very selective in terms of my network. It helps my curation process. It's a place for me to give back. I live in Boston. I visit universities and colleges on a very frequent basis. So I'm in front of young men and women. And so it's a channel for me to connect with them. It's a channel for me to embrace reverse mentoring, where I can learn from them. I'm a digital immigrant. I wasn't born in mobile, social, cloud, but many of the folks that I learned from are digital natives. My children are digital natives. And so it's a personal learning network. I'm mindful of who I engage with. And, you know, I think that in order to be good on any social platform, you have to be good off of the social platform. Meaning, you know, if you're building something extraordinary, if you're writing and your work inspires people, if you're good off of any digital platform, chances are you will do okay on the digital platform. So my advice to anyone, if you're good in life, hopefully you'll be good on social and digital. And you know, I view, look at how we will recruit talent in the future. I think the traditional CV is dying. You know, what you and I can put on 1 or 2 pages that's the best of us is not how digital native companies are looking in terms of recruiting. Your personal brand is your digital footprint plus your digital exhaust. When I'm in front of students, I tell them, Google yourself and ask, or ChatGPT yourself and ask.
Yeah, Vala, you were saying that we won't need CVs in the future when we're looking at how we recruit and how we hire people. What are people going to be looking at?
And when I have an opportunity, I live in Boston, so I visit colleges and universities quite often. And when I have young men and women in the audience, I tell them, Google yourself and ask this one question: would I hire me? What's the video that pops up, the photo? If you're dunking on your favorite sports team because they lost last evening, what hashtags you use. Your personal brand in a digital first economy is your digital footprint plus your digital exhaust, those breadcrumbs that we leave behind. And digital native companies are using human capital management software, HR software, where with AI, they can detect tone and sentiment. They can determine if you're a good cultural fit based on the words you use and the sentences you use and the images you share. So when I think about the process that was used to hire my grandfather and my father and myself, that's a process that's going to be disrupted. So I think, and social media and digital networks is a way for you to reveal your character. Look, the internet is people, and people are more social, so therefore the internet is more social. So I just think that as long as you recognize that when it comes to your career and life in general, it's not just IQ, it's EQ, emotional, and the LQ, your love quotient. People can tell whether you love yourself, you love the work that you do, you love how you do it, you love serving others. I certainly can, with probably just 1 or 2 thumb rolls, whether it's on any social network. I feel like I can sense a person's character, and it may be more than 1 or 2 thumb rolls, but it doesn't take long for me to recognize this is a good person. This is a person that's caring. This is a person that's self-aware. This is a person that just wants to give without expecting a get. And so to me, it adds context around who I want to connect to, who I want to learn from. It's changed my life. And by the way, I don't own any stock in any of these companies. I want to have that disclaimer.
Yeah, but before I let you go, Vala, what would your advice be to young entrepreneurs who are looking at starting up at this point in time, who are looking at scaling? What would you tell them?
That's a great question. Well, I certainly want them to deliberately identify silos in their thinking. It could be a simple question as an entrepreneur: how are you helping your community grow? Early in my career, I felt, that the spark should come from me, or the spark should come from my company. And it turns out the spark can't come from us as an individual or our teams or our companies. But if you want sustained positive momentum, the flames, the heat, and the energy has to come from the community. This is the best example I can showcase when I think about community. The sense of pride, the sense of joy that the 75,000 employees of Salesforce have when we spend a week at conference like Dreamforce, or the 23 cities we're going to travel to bring Dreamforce to our customers. That's what I want entrepreneurs to think about. How are you helping bring value to your customers and to your employees? And I think in order to do that, I want young entrepreneurs to think more like chefs than cooks. When you're a cook, you follow a recipe and you create a delicious meal. Now, if that recipe is gone, you may not be able to create that delicious meal. Or if a new ingredient comes to market, and I would consider generative AI a new ingredient. Yeah. In the last 15 years, cloud and mobile and social and Internet of Things and blockchain and 3D printing and quantum computing, there are so many new ingredients. And if entrepreneurs are trained like cooks, these new ingredients may not allow them to create more beautiful meals. A chef understands the taste of every ingredient. A chef understands the combination of ingredients can create fantastic tastes. They don't need a recipe. They learn based on first principles. When I look at Salesforce architects and engineers, we're not learning by analogy, we're learning by first principles. We are learning and trying to become better chefs, not better cooks. That's what I want entrepreneurs to do. Aspire to be a great chef, not a great cook.
Vala Afshar, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us here on CNBC-TV18. As you mark your 25th year for Salesforce, CNBC-TV18 turns 25 this year as well. So it's a happy coincidence, and we wish you the very best of luck, and we look forward to seeing you in India.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. With that, it's time for us to wrap up this edition of Young Turks Reloaded. To one of us here on the team, for now, goodbye, and thanks for watching.